So in the last video we made some pretty good progress here. In this one I think I just want to add in some more of the general design so we can just get a move on with this thing. So first thing, I want to make the general outline of a scope here on the top, and I want this to be like a sci-fi looking scope, something cool. So the first thing I'm going to do is press Shift A. I'm going to add in a cube. We'll just make it 3D. Why not? No need for vertices anymore. We're not blocking it out. Then I'll just scale this guy in, maybe around here. Somewhere around here should be okay. We can always move it again. And then I'm going to scale this on the x-axis, maybe to about here. Doesn't look too bad. We'll just make sure it's centered, which it is. Perfect. So now let's tab into Edge Select, and I'm going to just go ahead and bevel this bottom edge. So Control B, you're going to see this is a very biased bevel. So let's tab back into object mode. You'll see the scale is not applied, so we're going to press Control A and apply that scale. So now we'll tab in Edge mode and Control B, add a nice little bevel there. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's shift select this one and give these both a pretty even bevel. Maybe to around, I don't know, around here or something. Then I think I'll do the same thing just for this ridge right here. Control B, add a smaller bevel on that one. That looks pretty decent. And then I guess as like a final design, maybe I could bevel these two. So I'm wondering, do I want to bevel these guys or just these? You know, probably just these, because I think this gives it more of that sci-fi look to it. I don't know what you think, but I think this looks pretty good. Now we do have a big n-gon here. This is totally not going to matter, don't worry about it for now. We just want that general aesthetic down, which we have. Now what I'd like to do is add a cube just for the bottom, so that way it kind of connects to this piece and extends down to the bottom here. So one on the number pad, you go into front view, Shift A, and then we'll add in a cube. We'll just scale this guy down. And you know, just kind of get it into place, scale it on the Z, maybe a little more, and then let's scale it a bit on the X. So now we kind of have the scope blocked out. I think the scope's probably a little bit too high. So you know what I'll do is just move that guy down and scale that cube down a little bit. So yeah, this should be okay for a scope. We can always adjust it again later, but as long as we have that there, we're good to go. Cool, now what I think I'd like to do is just separate the magazine from the grip back here. So we'll tab into face mode, and I already had it selected because I recorded this twice, but basically we're just gonna use circle select and then just kind of paint in this selection to make it quicker. All of those, and then I'll press the P key and then we'll separate it by selection. So now if we go into object mode, we can kind of pull this magazine down a little bit. That should be okay, I think. We can always change it later. I'm also going to tab into face mode on this piece here. Let's delete this out for now. Okay, something like that. And then what I want to do is basically make a little design right here where the magazine goes. So I'm going to add in a cube, scale it down. Let's scale this on the X. Scale it on the Y a little bit. Doesn't look too bad. And then we'll just go into edge mode, and we're going to bevel these edges, but just make sure you press Control A and apply that scale. So now we'll just bevel that. And then maybe, just maybe, we could pull this face up a little bit. Something like that should be alright. And in addition, I'm going to scale both of these on the Y. No need for them to be that large. So scale on the Y. Let's just get these centered back in the middle. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just going to scale the magazine. We need to change the origin, so Shift S, origin to geometry. Let's just scale that down a bit, and then maybe pull these two edges, scale them a bit. And now we can just kind of move this up into that piece. There we go, that's something. Okay, now what I think I'll do is pull these faces here down, just so this thing is, you know, not as close up with this edge. I just think it would look nice, so down to there. And then what I'm going to do is just take all these pieces, basically just pull them down into right where they were before, basically, but now we just have some more room. And it looks like we also have a stray face just kind of sitting up here that are joined together. So I'm just going to tab into face mode, X, and then delete that stray face. So there we go. So now we have some more room down here on the bottom, and these are basically repositioned to where they should be. Now we can work on getting this trigger back in the proper position. So at this point, it's probably okay to join these two back together with Control J, like so. And then I'm just going to tab into edge mode, and we can select these edges here and these edges here. Now if we right click, you're going to see something called Bridge Edge Loops. Click on that. And if it doesn't work as intended, we need to make sure we just select the outer areas, the entire loop basically, and now that should work. Just be careful of that, that's a common mistake people make. And now if we just go into edit mode and drop in a loop cut here with Control R, we can just pull this down and then Control B and scroll up to add some segments to kind of make this trigger piece. So now we kind of have an area there for the trigger, which looks pretty good. Now one more thing I'd like to make is an area that the hand can rest on. So you can imagine if someone's holding this, then you know their right or left hand, however they hold it, is going to be resting up here somewhere. And this is just a really sharp object to rest your hands on. It's bulky, it's sharp. We want something a little bit more concise to just rest the hand on. So I'm just going to make my own design on that. I'm just going to add in an additional cube. We'll just place it over here. And just to give it that nice cool sci-fi look, we're just going to scale it across. Snap it. Actually, no, I'll just leave it about here. That looks good. And then we'll apply the scale with Control A, and at this point we can just grab these edges, maybe scale on the Y a bit more. We can grab these edges, Control B to bevel them, and then just maybe pull it up a little bit. There we go. So now we kind of have something there that'll eventually turn into something our hand can just rest on. And one final thing I think I'll do before we hop into the next video is go up here to this top edge and just Control B, give that a little bit of a bevel. I just think that'll look quite nice. And now we can see we have even more of a design here.